Okay, we are live. We're starting the finance meeting today, Wednesday, September 14th at 6:32 p.m. And I know that Mr. Rick has a couple handouts here to discuss. I'm sure your homework's done, class. Is this one of those nights that PSAP would be calling in or no?
No, he's not available to call in.
I mean, last time he was able to call in, so.
And I don't have the email handy that he sent you guys, so.
Yep, I have it.
Okay. So I don't have what he sent, so if you guys want to talk about that first, or I can talk about my handouts first, whatever's easiest.
Well, let's talk about your handout because his was talking about, he sent us some spreadsheets with the some revenue and expenses items, and I know Justin didn't have a chance to go through it all yet. I don't know if Dan's had a chance to look at it. I've briefly looked at it, so
so what I have for you guys, the budget's going to be a lot of copy and paste from last year over from us. The only thing that will really change is the standard 2% raise for everybody across the board, with the exception of a few things. What's going to be different if we look at the one that looks like an Excel sheet first? This is the sewer plant. So the sewer plant is going to be considerably different in a few places. So if you start first at sludge. So sludge typically, so this year we budgeted 70. We're actually going to be at 105 before it's all done.
for this year.
For this year.
Okay.
So we're about to move another about to move another 35 over. So it's going to cost us another 35 to get through this year.
Okay.
And then we will definitely have one more pressing at 35 next year. And then as long as nothing crazy happens.
Between next year, between the beginning of the year and when the plant opens, the new one.
Right. So we'll press one more time at the plant next year at 35. And then hopefully the plant opens within the time frame. And then what we'll do is we'll shoot our sludge down to the new plant. The new plant has the capability to press sludge.
That was going to be my question.
Yep. Okay. And then from there, it'll get pressed. And what happens, so that just for those who don't know, the sludge gets pressed, all the moisture gets pressed out of it. Then it is a dry solid. At that point, goes into a dumpster and it gets hauled to the landfill. So we'll be hauling it to the landfill at that point. So instead of $70,000 or $105,000 a year, because what we're doing now is hiring a contractor to come in and do that, the new plant will do that for us, and the price will go down significantly. So what I asked to do for next year was the budget $60K, and eventually in 24 that'll go down to 15 or less, and that's because I don't know how much it's going to cost for landfill charges, and it's actually going to be less than 60 because I just talked to Michael Betts on the phone before coming here, and we're going to have a custom dumpster made to handle that weight. The trash haulers can only haul up to 14 tons, but this stuff, the density of it, it doesn't take a whole lot of it to get to 14 tons. And what we're going to do is we're going to go talk to Athens and Logan, and we want to have one built that's specific for this and easy to clean, cover. It's not something that you just go buy off the shelf. So we want to have something custom made that works. We had a space specifically made for it as well, that's already covered. And so we're actually going to do that now, so that way it can be fabricated by the time we're ready to open.
Cool.
And that cost will go down significantly.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question with the Rumpke taking over the landfill. I know that some things are changing there in terms of what they accept, what they don't accept, and how much they charge, et cetera. So that was going to be one of my questions. If you guys
sure.
But so we just don't know what those rates are going to be yet.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And so Athens and Logan currently have theirs hauled there now. Okay. So, but we're just trying to get out in front of it. I talked to Athens Hockey and Recycling today as well, just specifically to work out these numbers. But I do know it's going to be significantly less. The other thing that's going to change too is the chemical bill. I left it exactly how it is now. The only thing we're going to have to buy in the future is polymer. Currently, we're buying chlorine and a couple other chemicals. But until we know, I just left it exactly the same. But I do anticipate, I'm guessing maybe an 80% decrease. But until then, I just don't want to play with it until we know. I added $24,000 to the office supplies Even with taking $10,000 off the sludge, and I know we're going to easily take more off of that. That's a one-time increase. I just think we would be doing a disservice to take the junk that we have at the old sewer plant and put it in that brand new building.
Computers and such.
Computers, I mean, the building that is not coming with any furniture whatsoever. So, it's got a kitchen in it. It's going to have a place for washer and dryer. It's going to have a place for desk and everything else. So,
I don't disagree with spending. Is that the right category for it though? Office supplies?
it doesn't really fit anywhere else in a line item down there.
Yeah, I think we kind of, in the past, I think we had too many line items. I think we consolidated. I think we got rid of some line items.
I'm just thinking.
Because I think we had like furniture and stuff like that on there, and I think we just consolidated and.
I know it's different with government. Do we depreciate anything or is that?
No, we don't get into that level
I
of
was thinking,
detail.
I'm thinking on the dealership level,
Yeah,
if we
sure.
buy computers, we depreciate our equipment or things like that. So,
But that makes sense. You'd have like some furniture, maybe a desk, chair.
Yep.
You would have cabinets.
Well, the cabinets are already going to be,
They're gonna be,
what you mean like filing cabinet?
Yes, cabinet, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking at 2 workstations because currently right now we have the operator of record.
Okay.
And then we have 1 technician on duty, and then they switch out on Wednesday. So we only need 2 workstations. I'm just thinking a small kitchen table, refrigerator. I believe it's coming, I gotta double check the plans, but I'm pretty sure it's coming with the kitchen sink and all that was already included. We don't need any.
Yes, you should.
Right, probably a microwave, but I don't.
Well, we won't call it a microwave, but you'll get the typical plumbing fixtures, sinks, whatnot.
And it's coming with all the hookups for a washer and dryer and a shower and bathroom and all that. So I think $25,000 is probably too much.
Too much, yeah.
But I didn't want to come back and ask for more later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's a goal that we have to spend 25,000. I feel like I've showed council that we're not going to spend it because we have it. We'll spend what we need, but
And at the end of the day, if we still have that excess in there, towards the end of next year, and we need it in another line item, as long as we keep the accounting as we have it now by fund level under the sewer plant, we can move it within there so if he does need, say sludge, more money on sludge or whatever, he can move it from office supplies over there. So, yeah.
sure. No, it's good.
So
Nuts and bolts is there.
does Athens County have a special dumpster that you send their sludge off on?
no, currently what they do is so that's the challenge that they have now is they just put they had a 30-yard dumpster down there, roll off, and they overloaded it multiple times and it kind of deformed it a little bit. And they actually had to unload part of it because they put too much in there. So now they're down to a 20-yard dumpster. Again,
But will the truck pick it up? That's the
Right.
problem.
right, so they can only lift 14 tons. So that's what the Athens Hawking guy, we're gonna, like I said, go to Athens and look at theirs, and then we're gonna go to Logan and talk to them. And it's all about building one that we want to error proof it so we can't overload it,
Right.
if that makes
Yep,
sense. So, I mean, they're gonna
So our
charge
goal
us
is
by,
just to hit 14 tons.
roughly, or less. I mean, they're gonna charge us by tonnage, so if we're 13 tons or 12 tons,
Right.
it's not like we're getting charged by.
Right, so that way you figure, okay, we're at 13, we don't have enough space in the dumpster for another press, so why don't we go ahead and dump it now and get a new one, yeah. So,
Yes, sir, that's correct.
so that's-
Is there a security system or anything like that?
There is, yes. So it'll be badge in, badge out access for a lot of it, and then the rest of it's cipher codes. It was an expensive change. It was unpopular with the sewer plant crew, because I switched all the doors to that, and they said, why would we do that? I said, the same reason, well, it's down there all by itself in no man's land.
Yeah.
If somebody were to get inside, why not? Why would you make it easy for them to have access to everything?
I wouldn't be upset to see this building have
Correct.
something like that.
Well, I think that's your ultimate vision as a whole, right? To
Yeah.
kind of have that same system throughout the city and all their buildings. So,
Correct.
Yeah, it gives it intertwined, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If we can at least control badge into the main areas and then put cipher on everything else to at least make it a challenge,
Yep.
you know?
Right.
And,
I would, my guess, my opinion would be after that's kind of taken place is maybe do the water treatment plant the same way
yes,
next,
Mhm.
if we're gonna do it in stages, only because those are the remote buildings, if you will. There's the most traffic here in and out, during the course of any given day. Your police and fire here, I feel like it's probably the less likely that get hit by anybody, right? Because it's not as,
And I can see that. This, on the other side, I'd say this is where all the most valuable information is too, so. Yeah,
Well,
that's one of
that's,
those, but I'm with you, that one being remote is probably a higher priority.
We, well, as you know, we put the security cameras with audio at the pool. And, we're choosing to leave the, internet on down there this winter, so we have access because it now captures, the park, or not all the park, but a large majority of it,
Sure.
which we never had before.
okay.
And we're getting ready to add that here. And I don't know if we're gonna do that down at the water plant. A more sophisticated system at the water plant, they have what they call water bugs, and you can plant them at different places on the floor. So that way, if water hits the floor, it detects that water and sends off alarms as well. I think I'd rather have a little bit more sophistication down there now, because right now, the software we have connected to all the different pumps and everything else sends alarms when there's depressurization or a pump stops and everything else. I'd really like to have that level of protection now, where the guys can look in, not just security for the building, but the guys can look in and actually see pumps, and potentially gauges, and zoom in addition to the automation. So they have a lot of automation down there now. The security system would add another level of automation on top of what they already have, in addition to the security for the plant.
So if they get called out in the middle of the night and they're down in the town, they can always, if they get a break, they can always look online, just make sure it's all right down there.
Well, a lot of the stuff we have now, Bruce and Jeff are able to do from home. They just log onto their phone now and they're able to control the plant from home as we speak. And then, but if they get certain types of alarms, they actually have to come in and physically check the plant, because the automation may tell them that there's a depressurization, which could be a leak within the plant. Now, if they get that code, they could actually look at the security cameras if we had them inside and see if there's actually water gushing out. And then if we had those spiders on the floor, it would tell them if there's actually water on the floor or not. So, again, that's expensive,
Right. Well, I look forward to the future. I mean, I think it makes sense to do it, so.
but those are the big changes with the sewer plant. I just wanted to call attention to that because that's gonna flex, or that's gonna change quite a bit, quite a bit next year as well. So just adjusting to that new plant.
So utilities on here, it says 80,000. So is that the same?
That's exact same. All these other numbers are unchanged from
Okay.
last year.
So do we think that the new plant's gonna be about the same or more or less based on utilities?
I have no idea
Okay.
because it's gonna do a lot more with the pressing and everything else. So,
But it'll be more efficient, right? So we don't really know yet.
Right.
Okay. It'll
Right.
come out in the wash.
and we also have, so just as a quick update, we have, so Third Son got bought out by Kokosing, and they have already been on site, looking at putting solar down there the best we can. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of space for solar down there, but they're looking at, putting solar down there with, because things have been going well with that. I don't want to get too crazy, but, things have been going well with the budget and everything else down there. So
So you think we can bring that in the current budget then? Possibly.
as of now,
Yeah.
isn't anything crazy.
Yes.
We could very easily do that.
Cool.
So if we can, we're gonna put solar down there with it too. If you guys, of course, you all would have to agree to that change order. But they are looking at it now, coming up with a design and quote for us.
On insurance, we're moving obviously to a nicer, much more expensive facility. Have we checked to make sure that rate's gonna stay the same?
It's too early.
Okay.
So literally, this is, all I did was take last year's
Gotcha.
and just change what I knew I could change. And yeah, it's quite frankly unable to do anything
Okay.
at this point.
Okay. Well, good. I'm all right with those adjustments. Now, we don't need to, we don't, this will be on the budget for next year then, but you need more, are we gonna have an appropriation for the additional money for the additional sludge this year, or do we already do that?
I think Taylor's got it covered.
Okay. Perfect.
If not, you'll get it, but I'm pretty sure he's already got it in there where he doesn't need one. If we jump to the other one that says job estimate, so, luckily, because we've had money in there, you haven't seen an appropriation request. So minus the $15,000 for a new platform, we've done this exact same, we're in the middle of doing this exact same repair right now to well one. I guess just a little bit of background. So last year, we repaired well
1, 2.
Correct. So we repaired well 2 that was completely dead, and it's working now better than it did when it was brand new. It's outperforming its performance when it was brand new. Right now, well 1 basically had to be completely rebuilt. It had to be cleaned just like well 1 had to be cleaned. And when they pulled it out, it ended up needing a new pump casing, which ended up being $14,000. They didn't know that until they pulled it out. And then it ended up needing a new pump, which was another $5,000 on top of that. And which is fine. All the parts have been ordered to be put back together soon. I'm hoping that it outperforms its original data too. This company that we have now, Michael Betts turned us on to them. It's not the same company that we've ever worked with before, but so far they've been fantastic. Their work has been better than anybody else we've ever worked with, and they've been great. So
we've got two running better than ever. One's getting put back together here, and when do you anticipate that completion?
as soon as the parts come in.
Okay.
So we're just waiting on parts right
So
now.
we're not in a supply chain issue here though, right?
No, as far as I know, there's no supply chain issues. Now, this one's well 3. Well 3 needs the exact same things as well 1 needed. The only difference is the platform structure on this one has completely disintegrated, needs to be replaced, which is an additional $15,000. And it also garnered us a violation through the EPA that has to be repaired by the end of by November of next year.
Where's this one located at?
They're all 3 right next to each other,
Oh.
right out here in the field behind the water plant. I mean, they're all football throw away from each other. So the other 2, just for FYI, since we're talking about it, the other 2 that are getting repaired, they're getting painted in a month. So they'll both be freshly painted.
Nice.
And then this one, after it gets rebuilt, would be painted as well. So then all 3 pumps will be freshly rebuilt, which Jeff can't tell you. He has no recollection when that was done
Yeah,
last.
I don't think we ever dumped any money into those wells. That's why it costs so much to get them cleaned the first initial go around.
So they'll all be brand new basically, and they'll be painted, and our wells will be them.
We have 3 tip-top wells and a new river crossing going across up there.
Yep.
You took me up there the first day.
Yeah.
When I first came on
Yeah.
council. That's awesome.
If you haven't been there, you should come up one day and I'll take you up there.
I've not been there.
Well, come next week and we'll go while they're born and I'll show you.
Ooh, I'll be there. I
Yeah.
wanna come too.
Yeah, come on.
Some of us have to work during the week.
Yeah, they're gonna start boring Monday. We'll go up there.
Make
with
sure
the
I'm on that text too, because I wanna be there.
board. Yeah, we'll go field trip.
Field trip.
So,
Sorry, somebody didn't sign your waiver. Field trip.
but I did want to budget because we are going to, it's gonna be quite a bit more expensive, just adding that $15,000 for a new platform. And it could jump even higher just because of the,
I see it's for May.
yeah, and I added another 2,000 onto the sheet over here just for the painting. I doubt it's that much. He probably only charges $1,500 or maybe even only 1,000.
What were we paying on that painting contract for? About
65,000 a year, wasn't it?
30.
It's only cost 2 to actually paint a well.
Well, that was a tank, but,
For a
yeah,
tank.
and they
Oh,
only
sorry,
painted
yeah.
it every 10 years.
Yeah.
The rest of the time they were here for one day and did an inspection on it for $30,000.
Good money to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't suck.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yes.
So I just want to bring that to your attention. I am
Okay, so
really,
you're looking at this for next year then?
yes, this is on the budget. So this is on my white list of big stuff. I just wanted to explain it to you what it is. I'm really excited. Jeff's really excited. Jeff said nobody's ever paid attention to the wells before. He's really excited to have 3 new wells.
Yeah.
And well 3 is currently working right now, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's operational currently, we're using it.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so my question
It's
is.
shooting water out the side of it, but yeah.
So, but to the platform though, you can't redo the platform this year then without
It doesn't make sense.
Okay, gotcha.
It doesn't, it's one of those that they have to take parts of, so the joke I just made about it shooting water off, right?
Mhm.
As soon as we start touching stuff to make that platform come off,
Crumbling. Okay, yep.
in fact, as soon as we get,
So there's a chance that it may not be operational at all by the time May comes around.
well, as soon as you guys approve the budget at the beginning of the year, I'm immediately going to schedule him,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna have him order parts and get them in here, so as soon as, he gets decent weather and
You're just
March.
projecting May, yeah, could be earlier.
right, so as soon as he gets I want him to order the parts as soon as you guys say the budget's good. And then that way, as soon as the weather breaks and he can get in here, that way, and he's got them to swap out.
And he's estimating these numbers based on May also.
May, where did May come? This is May of last year,
Oh,
this year.
yeah.
Sorry, this
Oh,
is
so
May.
these are
Yeah.
May of this year. Okay.
Yeah.
May prices of this year.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so, yeah, they're gonna be a little bit higher, I'm sure. but-
Yeah. But they take really good care of us.
So,
And,
perfect.
yeah, it's actually pretty fascinating. They go in there with explosive charges, put them all around inside the well, they blow it up, and then they put an acid in there that they pump in and out until it eats all the crud that's in there off. And, that's how they get the well to start working again.
I wouldn't be there for that.
Yeah, that sounds fun too.
So how many wells does it take to keep the city operational?
Well, right now, well two can run by itself. Well two is at 1200 GPM, which when it was new was only 900 GPM. And that's enough right now to run the city.
So if we lose 2 wells conceivably, we'd still be good.
Right now, we're running, so well two, so he's running well two. So the thing about the wells, it's not just about running off wells. So all 3 of them have their different chemical makeup. So they blend them together and pull at different rates to mix the different chemical makeup together, because then it controls how they add the chemicals to them as well. So they try to get the best blend of the water coming out of the ground to get the best mix of chemicals going into it. Now, they're scientists down there, man. That's what these guys are, scientists. And, but they try to get the best mixture out of the ground to provide the least amount of chemicals to it going into the system. And then part of our grant that we have, the 5.2 grant that we have, is we're going to add a lot of mechanical equipment to the tank, or to the tanks on the outside that weren't originally put there, that had to be put in afterwards. And what that's going to do is create a waterfall and agitation inside. And what that will do is eliminate the TTHMs. So the TTHMs are removed through agitation. And what that does is it bubbles them up. And then at the top, those TTHMs will be gathered at the top and then evacuated through fans at the top. That way, the majority of the TTHMs are removed from the water before they even enter the water system. And then when they get to the reservoir, we'll repeat that process again and eliminate TTHMs again before we even get them at the 2 main reservoirs by creating agitation in the tanks and then putting fans in there to evacuate them again, thus taking care of our TTHM problem. On top of that, we found our asset management plan, which we've already had a flushing program in place, contrary to what some other folks think. And we're going to actually enact that properly. And we're going to start flushing hydrants throughout the city in Bookdale, mainly Bookdale, so we can provide better quality of water to our folks over at Bookdale and get them fresher water over there. So
That's great. That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
the biggest thing about that is making sure we measure we got to make sure we capture how much water we flush over there. And because we have to account that into our water loss formula, because water loss is one of our write-ups with EPA as well. We have to make sure we're below that 20 or 30% threshold. I forget what the number is. I think it's 30% max threshold. And
So they count even though you're flushing.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we have to make sure that we take our total water loss and subtract what we flushed
gotcha.
to make sure we're below that 30% threshold.
There you go. Because it's purposely lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, but creating that loop will also help significantly with Bookdale to make sure they have fresher water. But I know Eddie and Bruce have been going over there now, pulling water samples to check the chlorine at different places in Bookdale to see and marking it down on the map at different days of the week to see exactly what our chlorine levels are, so we know exactly where to start pulling water to and flushing it. So that way we have, and of course here in town as well, out by the old post and school and up here on the other end of town and different places around town. So that way we have a deliberate plan that we can go out minimum once a month and start flushing.
Cool.
Has nothing to do with finance. I don't know why I went on that rant.
That's okay. That was good.
We got you started.
It was a good lesson then.
I asked about wells.
Yep. Well, it all costs the city money. So.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, full circle. So if you go to the white paper that I gave you, these are just the big ones that we've talked about. I talked about one time or another for most of them. And these are just gonna be the big ask that I'm aware of outside the normal ask. The dump truck, we talked about that. Unfortunately, I wanna give you a number that will hopefully be lower, but right now Ford has not released their numbers for next year yet. So what I plan on asking for is a Ford 1-ton with aluminum single cab, aluminum dump, salt spreader, and Western plow that matches all of our other Western plows. I don't want to vary from our existing plows.
That way they're interchangeable, correct? I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right now, that's exactly what we have on all of them. So any one of our plow trucks can go up to any one of the plows back there now, and they all plug in exactly the same. They all operate the same. There's no difference in any of them. That way the guys don't have to think. The contractor I put on here is just one of the state bid contractors.
Have we gotten stuff from them before?
No, I just looked them up because it just switched, is my understanding. Them and someplace out of Cleveland have the Ford contract right now. So,
And they're everything's all state pricing, right? So they're
Right.
not like really competing. They can't really compete.
right. So when I go over 50,000, I have to use state bid. So, and anytime I go over 50,000, I have to use state bid.
Okay.
The excavator is the John Deere 50G. I'm waiting on an updated price. That's nothing super fancy. A 50G, Dan can contest to, is very moderate Traco. It does not have a cab on it. I don't want a cab. I feel like the guys will just break it. And no AC, no heat, but it does have an articulating boom more than just the regular one, so it'll have more capability for
What's
them
the
to
depth on
maneuver.
that one?
And then, what's that?
What's the depth on that?
11.6. And it'll also have an angle push blade on it. So I did upgrade and it has a thumb. The guys really want a thumb. It'll have a 3-foot pitching blade and an 18-inch regular tooth blade, fresh out. So that could change a little bit. I was hoping I would have an updated quote by the time I came in here, but
I think it's gonna be more or less, or
I'm afraid to even say now with
Okay.
equipment. I don't know how that
yeah,
goes.
okay.
But I will have a quote attached to that when I present that to you
Say
guys.
the trend is more, that's for sure.
The quote I had last year was 56,000. So
Okay,
I made it 60. I added some to it.
hopefully not that much, right?
Right.
And then you got the 65,000 on there for well 3, that includes 2,000 for paint.
Yep.
Now, does National Water Services, are they the ones that also paint it? They paint
No,
it,
I have,
so we gotta hire someone to do it.
I have the gentleman that lives over on High Street. I have him do all of our painting if we can. Yes, bring up his name right off the top of my head. But he does our pool stuff. He does a fantastic job. And then water loss. So that's a line item for those that were here last year that we put on the budget last year. We hired companies to come in. What they do is they drive around town and they listen to every single water valve in the city, and they listen to every single hydrant in the city. And if they can hear running water and detect leaks, then they try and pinpoint it, and they'll actually drill a hole in the ground and try and find it to get water to come out of it, and then we go repair the leaks. So, and they provide a report at the end, and we did that this year. We went and repaired every leak that they found, and
That helped out quite a bit, didn't it?
yeah,
What's our water loss at now, do you know?
I don't know. I quit trying until the meters are done,
Right.
because it just ticks me off. So, it just really makes me
But
mad.
like each time, like last time, I think you and I might have spoke about that, it seemed like it was noticeable, though, once that was completed, you fixed that part, then
Yes,
you could tell, so that's good. So
I
it's
mean-
obviously effective,
right.
worthwhile investment, you know, because you're fixing a lot of the main water leaks. so.
Yes.
40%.
And we're able to provide that to EPA to show them that we're being proactive and looking for leaks and everything else.
That's great. And that helps us out too, even though if we end up, I'm sure they won't ding us as much or ding us. They'll just maybe give us a
Yeah.
warning if we're over water loss because they see what we're doing. So, I mean, it's got to offset, I'm guessing. So.
Yeah, so what I believe the EPA is trying to do is they're just trying to see that we're being proactive. They're not here to take away our birthday, you know?
Right.
And we are being proactive. Last time they were in town, it cost us $8,000, and we did it twice last year, or this year rather, you know, and we've had them come in and they found stuff both times. And, you know, we had them do our entire water system, Bookdole and.
Things that we were unaware about or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they found water leaks in the middle of the road. They found water leaks. They found a big one right in front of the American Legion. They found another big one in between the library and post office. Those were the two big ones. They found a couple of them off of St. John's Alley up in there. And then they found a lot of fire hydrants that were just cracked open.
Mm.
So, and that's, you know, that's no fault. They're just trying to be gentle and not break the lines. You know what I mean? That's just,
Right.
and we appreciate that. No complaining. So,
Well, good. Well, I'm glad that we're working better with the EPA too. So.
yes, we're diligently trying. And, you know, that was actually Taylor's suggestion to create a line item specifically for water loss and dedicate that, you know, just to show that we're trying to be that proactive. I think we put more in there last year. I don't remember exactly, but I just want to make sure you guys are still good putting that specifically in there for water loss.
Definitely.
I put these other two in there because you guys kept saying it. I don't know how much it cost. I just put them in here as place markers. That way Taylor could run the numbers and get them in here eventually for the front desk admin and then part-time street sweeper grass mower, providing we have a street sweeper ever runs again.
Yep.
And
Don't need to worry about that line item right now because.
no, Greg's gonna run it for free.
Can we get? You know how
Yeah.
they make little robots to clean your carpet and to mow your yard now.
Yeah.
Can we just get one that's autonomous that just drives around the city?
Wait, you know what? There's 3 people watching right now. I bet one,
I'm just
one of
kidding.
them's Missy. Missy, do you want to run the street sweeper and volunteer? No.
Oh, my goodness.
Put bumpers on the side of it. It'll be fine. Just
Yeah.
There you go. I
Bumper
like it.
cars down the road.
Yeah,
So.
like pool noodles.
Yeah.
So they're in there as placeholders, but seriously though, the one thing that I know that I talked to folks about a couple months back is the auditor's salary has not been increased in a long time. Long.
That's a good thing we're not asking for an auditor salary. We're asking for an editor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God! Thank you.
So
That's
a
the
new
reason I had all
position.
these numbers.
Took a minute to figure that one out.
That's a new position.
Me too, yeah.
The editor.
I just went and added that too right before I came in here. You
It's
can
like
tell I'm
auditor
tired.
/ editor.
Oh, good. I'm glad I didn't put that on the screen. Thank you. I misspelled it for those at home.
That can't read it.
So
Can't see it.
it would be weird if he asked for it, obviously, but I don't know. Even when he is gone, whoever the next person is, to do that full time for less than your average manager at a gas station or, well,
Maybe
small
not
retail store.
Maybe not Nelsonville, but yeah.
Even gas, even in
So we
Nelsonville.
just subbed out a lot of that work for 43 grand, the income tax collection. So that's less work.
There's plenty of other work to be done.
And something like that, that's gonna be a net positive for us.
I think so. And I think
I
regardless.
bet you pay your concrete guys more than that.
Regardless,
I bet you pay your concrete guys more than that.
I don't know.
regardless
What about
of,
that?
I can attest, you know,
Yeah,
so, regardless of, the auditor, the Rita will, I think will be definitely a continuity for the city, on a crucial task. So I think that's a that's a definitely net positive for us. So, auditors will come and go, and that will remain consistent for the city. So I think that's definitely a net positive for us. So it's good.
My thought is as well, adding on to that is, like anything else, you're gonna get what you pay for it. So if we pay lower wages, what kind of quality of person are we going to get for succeeding auditors?
Yeah.
So
The only challenge I've had with that position over the years is that it's an elected position. So the qualifications of that position are only that of being a qualified elector of the city, right? So resident and,
Yeah, that's it, there's no
For your-
qualifications.
yeah. So
I agree
to
with
be that position, you don't have to have any type of, it could be Joe Schmo on the street that has, not worked anything, managerial or, been in finance or anything in the past. That's the only challenge with that position in, the history since I've been involved that I've had with that position. And that's kind of more of a qualified position. I mean, yours is too in a way, right? Your position, but I think if you've had some sort of managerial systems or, leadership, of employees and stuff,
You
it
just
may
gotta
be,
know how to be elected, or get
Right.
elected.
budgets has been a big thing. You've been, since I've been here, the only one I think that I've been involved with as a city manager that has known how to work a budget, run a budget. So.
And to that point, what if Billy Joe Jack, who started for the Nelsonville York football team, that maybe barely passed high school, but he's very popular in town, decides, hey, I want to be the city auditor.
I bet he get elected.
Gets elected. What happens? We end up with people stealing money and nobody knowing where the hell money went.
But they also have to be bonded.
That's true.
That is
He's gonna
true.
have credit, that's all for that.
That's true. Yeah, not be a felon. Going in anyway.
Oh, yeah. Starting out with me.
So my opinion is get what you pay for. And I don't know what kind of person with experience or knowledge or ability is going to say, hey, you know what? I want to go and be the city auditor at Nelsonville for $44,000. I wouldn't. And I don't want to sound elitist or anything. I'm not walking across the street for $44,000 a year. Sorry. So, not that I'm running for auditor anytime soon, but
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
I can spell cat if you spotted me at CNEA, so.
Can you spell editor?
Editor. Well, that's why Scott and I get along. He can't spell either.
Okay, so
Dang,
can we go back real quick and talk about the front desk admin and street sweeper and grass mower? Can we talk about what we think that might cost us? And when you say part-time, you're talking 30 hours a week? I'm
30
assuming?
hours a week, absolutely. If we did 30 hours a week, we can do as little or as much of that as you want. If we want to do 30 hours a week times, shoot. By the way, I got a text, mister, it says that she'll run that sweeper.
There you go.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, Greg, you got outvoted.
Say if you're $15 an hour, Scott, you're at 23.4 before any other charges for 30 hours a week.
Times 52,
Times 52,
so 23,000 for.
plus whatever additional, there's benefits or anything like that.
Yeah, I know they
So
get,
part-time, you don't get benefits.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so so I'd round that. That's, you say, what's that, 15?
Yeah, $15 an hour, yeah.
So
typically though, they do the step one,
Okay.
which
Not just step on there, I don't have any.
maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay.
So we would have to decide if we want to do that many hours or not.
I think there's plenty of grass cutting the streets we do.
Listen, if you guys want to pay, I will take,
Whatever it takes to make this town better, I'm in for it, we can afford it.
listen, I would, if you guys want to pony up $35,000 a year, because that's, if you had the benefits, I would guess Taylor would be the one to echo that, because you have to pay the pension on that too.
Yeah.
Because there's no other fees, that I'm aware of. It'd just be pension. I would love that. Because it's step one, if I recall correctly, from at least PD, it was just whatever step one is, and that's it, step one, period, and there's no, I don't think there was any.
Well, street sweeping and mowing grass, that's seasonal, so.
about 9
But
months
there's,
out of
but
the
there's
year.
plowing, so, it would roll right into plowing.
Oh, so you'll keep them on
Yeah,
for the year for plowing and shit like that.
there's tons
There's
of
all
work.
kinds of work. and good-
There,
yeah.
I guess, so we kind of use one person already in that capacity now where he is either in the sweeper, on the mower.
Is he part-time currently?
I don't have a part-time person at all.
Gotcha. So he's full-time.
And, we.
So if you had, and would he remain as a full-timer if we got a part-time person to do those jobs?
But he's retiring.
But that's the guy.
So will he is this?
If he applied and he was a qualified person, then
The,
yes.
the guy you're bringing in temporary till the end of the year is replacing him.
No.
Yes.
That's the same guy. Okay.
Yes, but, so would so the person doing that job, would they be interested in this part-time position, you think?
After 60 days, yes.
Okay, so,
So we'd be net adding a job.
Yep.
We wouldn't be swapping out a full-time job for a part-time job.
Yep. correct. Yeah. But if, what I think is, we talked about this for years, right? I mean, we just never had any money to be able to pay more or high, or, expand the city's services, right? We just never had money. We know why now. We fixed that. We plugged the hole and patched it up, and now we're moving forward, right? So you've done a great job of getting the budget really in order and keeping things under budget and being able to, spread our dollar further, right? So now we got a point where we actually might be able to take a huge leap next year with this happening, because we have someone replacing someone already in a current position, right? Then let's just say March, comes around, March 15th, he's able to, begin work again for the city. He works part-time. He works 25 to 30 hours a week and basically takes the load of what one of our guys currently has been doing. Takes that off of his shoulders, now enabling him to be able to take his level up, a notch, and then, our services remain the same as far as sweeping, mowing. Actually, probably goes up because now we have a dedicated person, right? We have a dedicated person to do just that.
And will we save any money on any contracted mowing or anything like that?
We don't contract any mowing.
Okay.
Um,
So we're making do right now.
So it's
We
potential.
can own the parks or something.
Well-
Yeah, I think the other we used to contract out was parks, right?
well, right, and I mean, we contracted kind of during the baseball mowing, but
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
with that performance, yeah.
But we're not doing that again. So we'll save that money there.
So, and really, and if you add
In fact, we
plowing,
can take that money and put toward that, actually.
yeah,
There you go.
and yeah, there you go. And then if you add plowing to that as well, then that helps us too, and that also will keep us from having overtime potentially on, guys that may have to come out in the middle of the night. You can always have the part-time guy scheduled or whatever for those times. So guys can work during the day if they need to be out plowing during the day, they can, and then, his schedule could be maybe plowing at night if need be. So, really, then that might even help us with any overtime that we would get during a bad winter or something, right? So,
We'd have some savings there, sure.
You can actually add that, dragging part, not lining and bases, but you could add that dragging part. I could put that on him as well for the other part.
yeah,
The-
Crabtree looked exceptional this year. One of the best years looked the best I've seen it.
Bruce. But you know how we talked about next year for the baseball season, we're getting out of the baseball business and, that can be the league thing. But we talked about, or I told you guys, I'm good maintaining the fields because I don't want what happened this year ever
Right.
again.
Right,
And I mean, if I have this part-time dude, I don't mind even putting the dragging part on him as well. We'll leave the lining and the bases to the coaches.
Yep.
But I can maintain the fields and even drag them with the part-time guy.
Yep.
I'm good with that, and you can keep all that money. I mean, that was $6,500
So we're gonna spend a minimal amount more money when it comes right down to it.
I mean, that's just another $7 that you can take from that
Yeah.
and put over here to contribute toward I'm guessing 35 total if you're gonna do that many hours for that long.
I think we can find plenty of work for them to do.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely find work for him to do. So, I mean, again, if he's the most qualified person that applies for the job, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a more qualified person,
Whoever he
but,
or she may be, yes.
right.
so do you want to go that high
Well, it's gotta be,
initially?
well, it's gotta be the way that, if I understand the union correctly, it would still be the step one, and if we're doing 30 hours a week, I know I wouldn't want to bust 30. So what is it, 6 hours a day? So that'd be 6 times 5, so that'd be 6 hours a day.
Or maybe you do 7 hours a day, 4 days.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm flexible.
Yeah.
I can do that. And
Or Monday through Thursday or something, whatever.
Right.
And only ball on Fridays.
yeah, absolutely. If that's,
Yeah, however you decide to do it.
I'm pretty flexible with whoever the employee is. I mean, if they want to do it that way, or, I mean, how,
The
if
only
they
challenge
wanna-
with
if
that
they want to
is-
do 310s, I can do 310s.
The only challenge is rain when it comes to mowing.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have any prediction of that, right? So like, or you may have an entire week of rain.
Yeah.
And it just
So
happens.
maybe it's a retired guy who decides to apply and he's flexible in his hours.
As long as he gets X, Y, and Z done
Yep.
during the course of the week, he can, maybe make his own schedule if need be, so.
Here's
Maybe
your
works-
list.
Maybe works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, one week, and, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the next week or something. I don't know.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, so, okay, so yeah, I'm cool
So
with
you're
that,
saying
so.
35,000 a year?
I think that's probably what it'll end up being. I don't know what the minimum step. I think the minimum step's right at $18 an hour. And I think that's where we're at now for 22, step one.
Temperature 28.
And then you add the match, which I think is, I don't know what the match is.
So if you estimate 35, you'll come in under it then.
Roughly, somewhere between 35 and 40 for that many hours. TSAP, that's why I put TBD on there for TSAP to do. And then if you want to do a receptionist, you guys can set whatever rate you want. I know the police clerk, I think we just matched the same as the clerks in the water office and all that. So you can choose to do that, or you can choose to not do that and do a different rate.
And that's another position to raise city services. I think we need somebody that's the face of our city.
So, yeah,
Face
so
of the
the-
city, but somebody walks in or
The admin,
calls.
yeah, I
yes,
agree, and answering calls and stuff.
Emails, all that stuff. It's talking to constituents. Scott's all over the place.
Well, and sometimes if folks, not that I don't want you to be available to be able to talk to individuals in the city, but if they say they just need a form, a permit or something, then, they shouldn't have to necessarily track you down to be able to get that, or they can, oh, that can be found on the website, here's how you do it, I think there's a lot of tasks like that people, even the lady that was here at the meeting on Monday, she's just getting to know
Yeah.
this, how things work or whatever. Oh, where can I find that at? Okay. Where's the city website? Okay. So things like that, being able to help, with that, I think is good. So.
I liken it to my store where it used to be when we were smaller, of course, people would call in and ask for the service manager. They'd shoot the call to me, I'd pick it up. Yeah, I want to make an oil change appointment. I've got a whole department that does nothing but make appointments. So now it's the point now when someone calls and says, hey, let's meet the service manager. They shoot them over to the call center. 99.9% of the calls are, I need to schedule something. They can do the job. Same with you. Somebody, like you said, calls in and needs, I need this form, or I need to know where this is, or I need to leave a comment or a complaint or what, hey, no problem, here you go. That person can filter that out, get it to you, take care of the customer as much as possible.
Well, and I think,
Dodge.
I think the other thing is too, like if there is a complaint or whatever, then, they can log that, get it to Scott, so they know, okay, here's the individual, the callback number, here's the issue.
Or if they can triage it, it could be,
Yeah.
this is a street problem. Okay, I'm going to shoot an email to Scott, Jason.
At the same time, so, yep. it's-
Jason can go handle it. Scott can follow up later and say, hey, Jason, get that squared away. Yep, we're good. No problem. There we go.
So having Marco in there right now, Marco is from Hapcat, and he's really, really good with the phones. Really, he's the best one we've had. And he, I don't know, he's just really good at handling people when they call in. And he diffuses them just by his really long introduction answering the phone. And,
De-escalation.
but it's very professional. You know what I mean?
Right,
I don't know if any of you
He's
called
soothing, he's got a really soothing voice too.
He
I've called
does.
in. I've meant to call in. He told me to, but I haven't done that.
Yeah, he's just, it's very professional.
So if you're upset, he's like,
cooler.
he's the guy on the radio that's got cool, smooth voice.
They're
And
just
you're like-
chomping at the bit to yell at somebody, and he's just still talking, and they just want to scream at somebody. And But he does, he gets out of them what they want, and a lot of them are just a pothole complaint. And he just emails, because you have them set up on their own email right there, intern email, and they just email the complaint over to Jason. If it's a pothole, over to Jason, or if it's code, over, to Jordan or whatever. And, so he's doing a lot of that, if we end up with somebody like him, the next step would be for me to turn my inbox over to them, because that's the biggest weakness I have, is that dang inbox, and if they had the inbox and answering calls, that would be the cat's meow. And then that way a lot of the stuff is just papers that need signed, and if they had them all opened up, walk in, because a lot of them are just electronic signatures with our little pads, and sign them all, and then they just fire them back.
So what would you do if you had all that extra time?
I would jump in front of more cars.
Hmm.
Can't miss the opportunity. Missy, that's for you.
Okay, so how many hours is Marco putting in right now?
So he is here Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 3:30, or 9 to 3. So we got him a lot right now, and we have him till December, which is great.
And then what happens? He goes away?
Yeah, he goes.
He goes like to someplace else, or?
He's just done doing his cap time.
Okay.
So I don't really know what happens to him then, but
Used to be the manager of Subway.
he did. He's actually.
That's where I knew him from.
Yeah.
He is
I knew
he's
him
a
from
super
someplace
good
good.
dude.
Mhm, yes.
No, he's nice.
He's a
Yeah,
professional
very
chef
nice.
as well. He's been all over
Yes.
the country, and real deal chef and everything else. I wish he'd just open up a restaurant in town.
I knew.
I knew him from someplace too. I didn't know where I knew him from, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, he was out of place to me. I was like, gosh, where do I know you from?
Yeah, no joke, yeah.
So, all right. So potentially though, we're looking, and that position would be at the same
Step
point.
one rate, or you're thinking, well, you said it would match the clerks. Is that
Well,
what-
I mean, I'm typically
That's
here till
about
5, or water office is what, 8 to 4, I think, or 7:30 to 4. Right around similar hours, to answer the phone. So something till 4:30. So whatever the 8 hours plus lunch is. So I don't reverse engineer. What is that? 8 to 4:30?
Yeah, what do you do, half hour for lunch?
So 8 to 4:30, and half hour for lunch. So
And then, but still we're looking at it like 30 hours a week though, right? Our goal there is to keep it part-time though.
I didn't really think either way, one way or the other, part-time or full-time. I'm not sure. Let me get back to you on that.
Okay, all right. Because if that's the case, if they're both part-time, then you're looking at about 70,000 in the budget for both of them.
Yeah.
70,000
Okay,
additional.
maybe work the number either way, see what it looks like full time with the benefits and all that stuff too.
Well,
The
benefits-
scary thing about part-time is,
Just for devil's advocate.
if we're looking at part-time, I would have to find somebody that really wants part-time that's planning on sticking around for a while, because I just don't want to open up my inbox to people in and out. If that makes sense.
Sure.
But full-time's really expensive. I get that too. So, I'll get back to you on that one. Not that there's my inbox is public information. Anybody can come in and go to it. It's just, it would take a while to figure it out. Like,
I can imagine that it will.
I get a ton myself on my personal email, and I can only
Right.
imagine what the city's like.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, anybody can come in and go through it. It's just, I guess what I mean is figuring out me and that person, like getting into a groove.
Mhm.
That's what I mean by that.
Right.
The PO request alone can rack up to 300-400 unreads like that, because all the PO requests jam it up. So I appreciate you looking at all of them. If you guys have anything else to put in there, a lot of it's gonna be copy and paste from last year. Last year's product was really good as far as I can tell. I don't see many significant changes from last year to this year. I don't know of many more big requests coming that I can think of. Unless you guys have something that you want to see in there.
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head. but I'm sure
No,
we'll talk about it.
I think we're on the right
Good
path. I
mindset.
just want to see that progression still.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, a couple things, the regional jail expense, how does that look for going in the next year?
That'll be, so I'm still waiting to see how much it shakes out this year.
Right,
So,
because weren't we supposed to possibly put more money towards that to finish this year?
so I looked at that, now, or meaning that was one of the line items I looked at earlier today to see where we're at. But I didn't get into the actual live system to see where we are to bring that to you. So I don't know where we're at on that, but it is gonna be, I'm gonna propose to you this year or next year what we went through this year at a bare minimum.
Okay.
yeah, because it should be probably, well, we're gonna have more bed space next year, more beds dedicated to Nelsonville next year, aren't we? So
I don't think that that's an actual real thing as far as beds dedicated to a thing. I think it's just whatever's available.
More beds. So when are they starting that project?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
You know, they bid that out 2 years ago?
Well, I thought they just announced it the other day
Well,
with
no,
the
no,
wine up there.
Oh, no, they bid that out and then COVID hit, and then went,
Well, you're talking about the old prison.
oh, yeah.
The wine bid, or like, what was it,
Well, he
1.5
gave-
million, 2
Yeah,
million
that
up there?
was-
He
Regional.
gave them a couple million, he gave them millions.
Yeah,
It was more than a couple million. I think he, like 9 million up there and 11 million over here, and
yeah. Not real sure.
Josh? Yeah, something else great. You said a couple things. That one was big enough for conversation.
Well, I'm glad to see that the regional jail
fuel
bills
expense
up,
line.
actually, because that means we're arresting people
Yeah.
for freaking breaking the law in the city of Nelson.
Greg brought up fuel expense as well.
Since we just went through that, and
Yep.
we can only assume next year will be,
Same or
who
worse.
knows?
Same or worse, although
Yeah,
Nelsonville went down today.
Yep,
Well,
so
the-
336 when I came through.
And they're trying to get you to accept that, you know.
Right.
They jack it up $6 and they bring it down to this, it's like, oh, man, that's great. No.
Politicians.
So oddly enough, though, fire department's on point. So within their percentage, so I was watching their percentage compared to everybody else as well. So they're right where they're supposed to be. They were at 60% last month, in their budget, where everybody else is, blowing it out of the water, which that doesn't mean anything, per se. I would guess probably less, it doesn't mean anything really. I know Jason's guys are far busier this year than they've ever been. That, I don't wanna say ever, but since I've been here, cause their operating budget, they're blowing through it. I mean, they're moving. And, so I would expect their fuel budget to be burn up quick. Oh darn, that's one thing that's not on here.
And PD's actually out patrolling instead of sitting down at the BP station.
What?
Wonder how many miles they put on.
Well, we'll have to, I'll have to make,
Never go, you know,
I'll have to make a phone call and see what they were driving in 2013. And
I did forget to put it on here. I'll have an accurate cost for you after the end of this month. Jason wants a bigger fuel tank. And, there's an auction up in Columbus that we watch. I forget how much it goes for. I think it's 15 grand, but,
Oh, an external fuel tank. on the
Yeah.
back.
cause we got 3 little ones back here and they actually have, and they're, one of them is not even compliant. And, it doesn't have spill protection or anything
No.
else. So, Ritchie Brothers up there, every time that they have
Yeah.
good brand new
I
ones.
watch Richie Brothers.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's 15 grand, but I'll confirm the price of them. They have the exact same tanks every single auction and they go for roughly the same price. So I'll have a dollar amount to put on here for the next go around, but we do need a bigger, we'd like to get at least somewhere between an 800 and 1,200 gallon fuel tank to put out back for the trucks. So that'll cut down our deliveries, POs and everything else for the guys.
Speaking of Jason and his department, I know he's been having truck issues with his,
Dodge,
You know, it's a
the
Dodge.
one that he's having problems with.
I am.
The lemon?
The
I
limit.
didn't build it.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be all right? Do we need to get another one? Lemon lawn?
We gotta call the wine line
Mhm.
and get that started, so. But, I don't know if he started that yet or not. I do know, now that, it's coming close to the end of the year, we like to wait till towards the end of the year just to see how we are on budget. But we have some maintenance things we need to take care of. We need some tires to get, that are wore down, a couple alignments to get, those type maintenance things to get before the plow season. I sent him a to-do list for plows and everything else, ordering, extra feet, so we don't wait till the last minute and try and find them when there's a snowstorm 2 days out. So I know we're gonna be ordering lots of parts like that.
Let's have a snowy year.
You better just watch it, mister.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that's what they
This might be a
said.
tough one this year.
That's what they said.
I'm gonna plow here. Oh, I don't plan on, so just for going on conversation, I don't plan on asking for any more salt money than normal. We'll just do it like we did last year. We'll ask for the same amount, and then if we blow it out of the water, I'll just come back and ask for more. So it'll be the standard, I think it's 30,000 roughly. And, once I blow all that, or it looks like I'm gonna blow it all and it's still coming, then I'll come back and ask for more. So,
One more thing, I promise.
yeah, no worries.
So for 23, the sewer rate's going up 8%, water 5%, correct?
I believe that's the number.
Okay, in 24, is the sewer projected to go up again?
Yes.
But less.
Well, I
It
think
goes
it's
up
still,
twice, doesn't it? Or the 2 increases next year?
it might be 2 next year. I gotta go pull the documents. To see, I just don't remember them off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
I remember that document too, kind of
I
had. it
do,
all-
I do
Yeah.
remember they were shrinking as you grew up.
Well, cause
And
I
we missed one though, we were behind on, I thought we missed one increase on it, so we
did 2.
Yeah.
But last year was 10, so I know this year drops to 8, which
Okay,
makes it less,
so maybe is it just 8% or is it 4 and 4 then? Maybe I was thinking.
no, I definitely think it's you know what? I don't wanna say definitely.
Yeah,
Let's just
let's
find the
look
document.
it up and we'll have it for the next meeting.
But I know for certain the water's 5. I had to make sure it was 5 in order to do the water loan.
Okay.
This year. For the water loan, the 5.2 million water loan was the only way to make the numbers work.
Okay, I don't have anything else. You guys good with moving?
Oh, the pool?
Yeah.
Anybody pool?
Oh,
Yeah, what pool make?
yeah, it wasn't on.
Oh, no, not with the pool makes, but the, repairs. So,
Oh,
How we doing pop this year?
I have not ran that report. I know it didn't lose money. I can tell you that.
popped in.
Oh, so speaking of that, I did get quotes for, I have one quote. Actually, so I got all sorts of quotes, right? So the quote to do the liner, which I know we briefly talked about the other day, is somewhere, we got 2 quotes. One was 200, well, okay, so I'll just give you the range. Anywhere from 2 to 230. So 200,000 to 230,000 to do the liner. My recommendation to you is let's not get serious about it until we make it through a season without breaking and causing a leak. So if we get this leak fixed either this fall or this next spring, if we make it through the season and we don't crack again and leak, then we can talk seriously about doing the liner. It's my suggestion.
Now, are we taking a couple percentage points off of income tax for?
Yep.
That? Okay,
Just toward the pool fund in general.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So, that's but that's where we're at. Pool roof. My goodness, man, we got quotes all over the place for that thing. From 24,000 to 90,000. So, they're all over the place.
Metal roof?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that 90,000 guy, he's the same one putting the roofs on at the sewer plant. We will not be using him.
He's fell above his head.
Yep, sure is. And I told you. And we got some in the middle, got a lot of them in the middle as well. To get the pool house painted, it's $5,000, same guy that's painting the tanks. Extremely reasonable price.
local guy too.
Yep, local guy, perfect. Yep, extremely reasonable.
We're gonna paint in the fall, we're gonna paint in the spring.
I would like to, I don't have money to do it this year, so I'd like to do it in the spring. Right now, I have a few bucks left from a couple pool things. So right now, I want to send the diving board stands off for powder coat and have them powder coated because they're all messed up. Meaning just flaking paint and everything else.
Right.
So I want to get them powder coated, forest green. that'll match the, shades, because the shades are forest green,
I haven't seen them yet.
because they're shaded. Huh.
Mhm.
Anyway, they're out back here. So the shades are here. They showed up 2 weeks before the pool closed, and we chose not to put them up. But now we'll do the diving boards and get those so they match. So the diving board frames will look fresh next year. And I want to figure out some way to do the pool slide and get it fresh. I don't know if we can use convict power or what we can use for that. I want to figure out something. Or if we get a quote from our painter guy, maybe he can do something too. But I like the idea of changing up the colors. We'll polish that. No, we'll polish that. We'll put those guys on there to do that. That'll probably be 3 weeks of paint or polishing on that thing just because it's so faded. But
Get that new car,
yeah,
that new car, newbie.
but I really want to put a lot of elbow grease into the pool over the winter time.
That way it gives it a fresh look. next year.
Yes, sir. I really want that. Pool.
So the,
So let's talk about that leak.
yeah, let's talk about getting that leak fixed and how much that's gonna cost us.
So I asked Taylor, I said, how do we do it? He goes, we don't have it in the rec fund. He said, we got no money in the rec fund to do it.
Right.
He said, it'd have to be capital. So,
How much?
well,
We're all sitting down.
Like 41,000 or
it's
something.
46,000 to do the repair.
I mean, it's gotta be fixed.
I'd rather do it this year than,
Yeah, but what's to say we don't have the same problem next year?
Well, that's just it, so I think we need to make sure that they do inject more foam underneath it, so, because with all the leaks we've had in that thing, it's gotta be more spots that are undermined than
it's
that.
been leaking for years, so yeah.
Yeah,
So how much did we spend last year? Roughly,
Well, earlier this year, we
For
spent,
this year, yeah.
I believe it was, I think it was like 24,000, if I recall correctly.
so 24 and 46 is 70. But a new liner is 220.
you still gotta fix the,
Sure.
So the new liner, what they do basically is they find the D-lambs, so they put so they told me the way they put a ultrasound machine or sonar machine, sonar. They find any D-lambs and they basically chip out the D-lambs and they fill them in and then they scuff everything up and then they just put new material on top, a thin layer on top of everything. So they don't take out old, and that's what the new surface will look like.
But if you do that and we still got a leak in there,
Well, yeah,
then you got,
so yes, we just gotta make sure we're.
so we gotta get that leak fixed regardless if we're getting a new liner or not.
right.
So, let's go ahead and get her done.
Oh, it's
And
gotta
then-
be done, yeah.
I'd rather have it on this year, coming out of there, or, or under aquatics, if you will, and making us look like a big loss this year. So next year we'll have more of a true depiction of what that aquatic center can do as far as breaking even. Obviously, it hasn't broke even if you add the repairs in this year. So,
Well, and I mean, if we pick on our neighbors to the south, they have a brand new pool.
they've been having problems too.
They have,
Yeah.
they've already had major cracks like we have, and ours is 22
Ours
years old.
is 20, at least 20 years old.
So ours
At least
isn't
20.
brand new.
22?
At least 20.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
20 years old.
So ours is over 20 years old and we're dealing with major structural cracks, and theirs is how old? And they've got major structural
Is
cracks.
this the first season?
No,
Second season. This is second season.
third,
Officially?
I think so.
I don't think so. I don't think that pool down in Athens has been open for years.
And ours is sitting on coal
I think so.
slack, so,
Is there,
Newbie
any-
building.
is there any way to go under there and shore the entire thing up?
dude, it's sitting on coal slack. I can't believe it's made it this long.
How about a big above ground pool?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw one on Marketplace in Carbon Hill for $10.
There you
so
go.
Go get it.
Sand bottom and
Ground
all up
trailer.
on the sides.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We could get a plastic slide to put into it.
I remember when that was, that wooden ship playground there
Yeah.
back in the day.
So, okay, so, I'm okay with, doing that and trying to get that going. Do you think we could get that done this fall before the
Do
winter.
we have that in capital though?
Well, that's where Taylor said you'd have to pull it from, so
But I'm saying that's, we have that in capital.
that's,
If he said we have to use.
that's
capital,
my
yeah,
assumption
we
because he
have
said
to.
that I have to pull it there.
So I would say, yeah.
4 years on the
Wow,
20.
So
it's been that long.
So,
Wow.
no, hey, no reason to apologize.
I agree.
I was close.
I agree. Is that your attorney?
Anyway,
Point of order.
All right, so I'm good with that, so.
I love our pool. I think it's great. You know, we get compliments all the time on it because it's big and parents can sit in one spot and scan the whole pool and see their kids.
Yeah.
Where I get a lot of, or, you know.
And the zero entry is nice for a lot of people, so.
Oh, yeah, we definitely did keep it top notch.
Yeah.
And that includes putting money into it. As far as it.
All right, so we'll bring that forth then to the next council meeting.
Is there a way they can check and see how much is just fucking undermined in there?
The only way I can think is a sonar. And just see if they can sonar and see how far, you know what I mean, just drag it around and, but being on coal, I don't know how well coal's gonna do with the sonar.
Well,
It's not a very solid surface.
And I'm good with all these other numbers for the budget, by the way, so that's fine. So yeah, we've got an Army guy, we've got an Air Force guy, now we need a Navy guy. So,
Tony.
Tony is the Navy guy.
okay, we gotta do better than that then. All right, so,
Talk about
nothing,
recruiting.
I have nothing else. Do you guys have anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, so, if there's nothing else, Mr. Clement,
I'm good.
you go, okay. So we'll adjourn this, meeting, this finance committee on, Wednesday, September 14th at 7:43.